Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jada and today we will be doing a July and August reading wrap up. For July and August, I read quite a bit of books. They were focused on like a lot of summer reads because those are the summer months, and I had some pretty good reads, had some pretty okay reads. Like it was all like a pretty good balance. I'm really excited to talk to you about some of these books that I read. So let's get started. First, we have One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. This is probably my favorite book of the year so far, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I would say First Time Caller is up there with it, but I genuinely think that this one takes the cake because these characters, oh gosh, they're so good. If you couldn't tell, I gave this 5 stars. You know the drill, I have my laptop. So I've been anticipating this book a lot. It's an interconnected story with Every Summer After, which is, I think that was her first book that came out, and it was also the first book that I read by this author. We follow Charlie and Alice. Charlie is the brother of the guy in Every Summer After, and Alice is a photographer. Alice comes back to the lake to take care of her grandmother, who she isn't sick, but like she hurt herself, so Alice is coming back to just like help her and just like help around the house. When Alice was younger, she spent one summer at the lake and she took a photo that essentially changed the course of her photography career forever, and it gave her like her most famous photo. Charlie is one of the people in that photo. She ends up meeting Charlie because he's essentially like in charge of maintenance for that cottage that she's staying at with her grandma. We just follow them across the course of the summer and just see how their relationship unfolds. I love this book so much. I truly don't know if anything that I read for the rest of the year will top this. It felt so special to me in the moment. I remember when I was reading it, it felt like I was like taking my time with the book while also like devouring it at the same time. It was partially a conscious decision because I could tell how much like I was enjoying the book and how much it was like meaning to me as I went through it. I highlighted so many quotes, like I'll read some of them to you, like if they're like not too spoilery. I felt so connected and seen by Alice as a character. I loved like seeing like the backstory of how she was when she was a kid slash like a teenager, to see her like as an adult and see how she wants better for her younger self and also wants better for her current self. It really resonated with me, like on how I have been and also how like I want to conduct my adult life. I just really felt like I was like reading about myself in so many ways. Like Alice is even a Cancer like me, and I was like, hold on. And like that was spoken about at the beginning of the book, and I was like, I have a feeling that I'm about to feel really seen by this book, and like I locked in. I love this author's like backgrounds that she uses for her books. They're always like so beautiful, and you can really like imagine yourself there. I also really love Charlie as a character. He's one of my fave like MMCs I've ever read. He's such a shameless flirt, but he's also like so sweet and kind, and he really shows that he cares like in so many like little ways that I just found like really sweet to read about. And I just love Charlie. The relationship that him and Alice had together was just like so special, like seeing it grow from what it started as to like what we see like by the end of the book. It seemed like they truly understood each other, and they were the only two people that were really able to like see each other for who they are and not like the masks they put up or just like the stereotypes that are like put on them. I also just loved like their ability to like bring out the best in each other. I just love them so much. Like so many times since I've read this book, I've just like opened it up and just flipped through it and read through all my favorite quotes. I literally like tabbed all of them, like if you can see that, like I tabbed so many so that it'd be like easier to find with my highlights. One of the quotes that I loved and I highlighted was, "For a moment that seems to stretch for hours, he looks at me in that disconcerting way, like he can see not only into my soul but to a deeper place, a corner that's full of secrets I haven't learned yet. It makes me feel stripped to my essential parts." And like this just goes back to like how I was talking about how like they can just like see each other. They see each other in the ways that like the person would like sell themselves short. The second quote that I'll read is, it says, this is like one of my absolute faves. "There's something about Charlie that calms a part of my brain that constantly worries about saying the wrong thing." As someone who constantly worries about saying like the wrong thing in conversation, sometimes I'll like sometimes like really struggle with social anxiety and like not knowing what to say. I think being around, or just like finding someone that you don't feel like you'll ever say the wrong thing around and they'll always like understand you. I think the reason why their relationship resonated so well with me is because I think like I think I have a wound for like being misunderstood, and I feel like these characters can feel very misunderstood at times. So to have someone like see you and see you so clearly in a way that you couldn't really see yourself, and other people haven't seen you either, oh, it's too good. Like, I'm obsessed with this book. I'll never stop talking about it. I'll never stop reading it. It's so good. Please go read this. I'm obsessed. 5 stars. Okay, next book. I yapped your ear off about When Going Sober, but let's go into the next book. Okay, so the second book that I read in July was Hat Trick by Chelsea Curda. I've read quite a few of her books at this point. They're all like sports, romances, all hockey. Hat Trick follows Riley and Lexi. Riley is an NHL hockey player. He got into a car accident one night and it caused one of his legs to be amputated, and we're basically following his journey through rehabilitation and possibly playing hockey again. We're also following Lexi. She's an athletic trainer for the team, and she just got a relationship, and she's basically helping Riley through his rehabilitation. She's very independent. She's a sunshine character. I really enjoyed it. It definitely wasn't my fave, but I had a good time reading it. I enjoyed this book. It wasn't my fave, but I definitely enjoyed reading about these characters and their struggles. I love the focus on mental health through Riley, because like he's struggling with adjusting to his new life. I found like the whole found family thing, as always, like very like comforting to read and just a fun aspect of the book to have. I rated 3 stars. Honestly, don't remember that much about like the romance and these characters, like in terms of like how they connected with each other. Like I know like it was a cute relationship, it just nothing really like stood out to me, honestly. But it was still like a good book, and I recommend that you read. Third book that I read in July was Float by Kate Merchant. I've been trying to read more books on like my want to read list from Goodreads. Anything that's been sitting there for a while that I like put on my want to read list, I've kind of just been like skipping over for whatever reason. Float was one of those books I added a while ago, never got around to it. I was honestly like very pleasantly surprised by reading this. This is a YA book, and I read YA books like every once in a while, but it's not like a genre that I'm constantly reading. So we're following Waverly, whose divorced parents just sent her to live with her aunt in Florida for the summer. She's not used to like beach town life. I forgot exactly where she's from. I want to say it's Alaska, but I could be so wrong. For the MMC, who his name is Blake, he's the boy next door, and he basically just like brings Waverly into his circle. At first, like it's a little reluctantly. Through this, Waverly starts to experience what it really feels like to be a teenager and just like overall have fun. This book was really, really fun. I could see like everything so clearly in my head, which I really wasn't expecting. Like, I don't know, I really felt transported to like the setting of where they were. I really could see and understand these characters. Like they had a lot of depth that I wasn't expecting for a YA book. Like it was nothing crazy, but like it dealt with a lot of aspects of like family dynamics, and I wasn't expecting that, honestly. But it was done really well in a way that was like, I would say, digestible for young adults, but also like handling it well. I really liked all the characters, and I really felt like I understood that the role they were gonna play in the story. I liked how like the author didn't really make anyone the villain. When I was starting to read it, I was like, there's like this character. I was like, is she gonna be like the mean girl? Like I can't really tell what's going on here. But as like you continue to read, you start to realize, like as we start to like learn more about the characters and the way like why they act the way they do, like no one's really a villain. There's like a mutual understanding amongst everyone that, you know, like everyone's kind of like going through their own stuff, and they're not terrible people. Like, you know, like it just shows them like being kids and trying to work their shit out and making mistakes along the way, but it doesn't make them bad people. I would definitely recommend this book for like a fun summer read. It's really quick, it's really like easy to read, it's very digestible. It made me nostalgic for summers I didn't experience as a teen. But I will say, a side note, I loved it so much, so I decided to watch the movie. The movie was terrible. I've never seen such a bad adaptation in my life. Part of the reason I watched it, like, okay, I saw that Robbie Amell was in it, and like, we know Robbie Amell from like True Jackson VP, The Duff, like, you know, like he's good, he's great. I don't know what happened, and like, I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying, like, my thought process is to like, okay, like, yeah, like this would be like fun to watch. They changed the whole essence of the movie. First of all, they aged everyone up. Like, nobody's like teenagers. I was so confused when I started. I was like, wait, who is who? Because you guys don't look like teens, and obviously like there's nothing new about like people not playing their age. Like, that's been a thing in Hollywood forever. But like, it was so clearly like they're not teens and they're not trying to make them teens. So like, for the first like couple minutes, I was like so confused on what's happening. So they aged everybody up, which defeats the whole purpose of the story, because it's supposed to be like a teenage like summer. It just doesn't work. Also, it wasn't even set like on a beautiful beach. Like, the way that the author described it in the book, like, it was like so beautiful, and like they were always like by the ocean, you know, just like enjoying like this fun sunny weather. Especially like that was so important for Waverly because of like where she like grew up, and she just wasn't used to like the warm weather in summers. If I remember correctly, like there was a beach, but like it was like so dreary. Like, even the coloring of the movie was terrible. Like, it was so depressing. Like, the beach didn't look like, the beach almost like looked kind of like abandoned. Like, I don't even know, but like it was so bad. Like, it was so bad. I could not believe what I was watching and how they managed to mess it up. Don't watch the movie if you want to like still keep intact like what you see from the book. Would not recommend the movie, but would recommend the book. Fourth book that I read in July is Our Scorching Summer by Kel Stone. I think that's how you say her name. Essentially, I just wanted like a quick read. That's it. I rated 3 stars. I enjoyed it. This book follows Nico and Lily. So Nico is Lily's best friend's brother-in-law. Confusing. Nico is like very charming, and he's a flirt, and he loves flirting with Lily. Everyone wants him to stay away from her, and because like they're scared like he's gonna like break her heart and like mess up the whole dynamic. Lily just lost her job. Like, she's having some issues with her romantic life. She failed the class. She's like going through it basically. Because of that, she decides to travel with Nico despite being like very resistant to his charms and everything. And she even ends up having like a slight friends with benefits arrangement with him. I don't have much to say about this book, honestly. It was fun. I like the push and pull between the characters. I didn't really feel like connected to the characters, honestly, but I thought it was a good book. I enjoyed my time reading it. It's definitely a fun summer read. I rated it 3 stars. Would still recommend, but not a fave. The 5th book that I read in July was One Italian Summer by Rebecca Serle. I think that's how you say her name. This is another one of those books that I've had on my want to read list forever and have put it off so many times. I decided to do the audiobook for this book because I heard that Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls is narrating it, so of course I'm gonna listen to this. This book follows Katie, and she just lost her mother Carol. They plan a trip to go to Positano, Italy. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Please don't come for me. This is where Carol spent the summer before she met Katie's father. Katie decides to still go on the trip, and she discovers that she's able to see her mom like when she was 30 years old, which is when she went, like, initially went to Positano, Italy. It's never really explained why this is the case. Like, it's a very hard thing to explain, and it's not really explained well in the book. It's kind of just something you accept. The audiobook was beautiful. Totally recommend. I love hearing Lauren Graham speak. I think she's a great audiobook narrator, and I hope she does more, honestly. I thought the story was very beautiful, and it felt like a very accurate representation of grief. And I also love the exploration of the idea that your parents were people before you, and like they lived life before you, and the view that you had of them throughout your childhood doesn't always match up with who they were before, and I guess like kind of trying to accept that in a way. I thought it was very beautiful. I rated it 3 stars, but honestly, like, I don't know, like I may like bump it up to a 4. I don't really know, because the only thing that like I'm like bumping on is one, like the logistics of like how Katie's able to see her mom. I'm not like one to be like, this book isn't realistic. Like, that's never something that I'll use to rate a book lower, because I think like books and shows and movies, like they're meant to be a bit like unrealistic sometimes. I just wish like it was explained better. And then also Katie is a character, like I don't really know, because at times her choices are very questionable for me, and obviously like they are being driven by her grief. I just didn't love how like she chose to respond to things at times. Should that be something that causes you to rate a book lower? Because I do love characters that are messy and don't always do the right thing. I don't know. I said it as 3 stars. It may be 4 stars because the writing was really beautiful. I could even hear it through like the narration of it all. Everything was really beautiful about it. It was just the logistics, and Katie is a character that I had a bit of issues with, but I would still definitely recommend this book. It's really great. The last book that I read for July was Passion Project by London Sperry. I rated this book 4 stars. It was a new release this year. Revolving Bennett and Henry. Bennett moved to NYC while she was still grieving her first love, and now she's basically struggling with grief, depression, and just an overall lack of direction in her life. She stands up Henry on a first date and ends up running into him like a couple hours later, and just like ends up embarrassing herself. Wait guys, I forgot I have this book. Henry decides he wants to help Bennett find her passion in life, and every Saturday they basically try something new in New York City. So that's essentially the whole plot of the book, them trying new things and us like being with Bennett through her grief and depression and just her struggles overall. I really enjoyed this book. I love a book set in New York City because like it's just like nice to read about places that you recognize, well, I recognize from seeing day to day. I thought the author did a really good job at depicting grief and how its effects spill into like all parts of your life. We see it affect Bennett's career, or just her overall career, like as her ability to like aspire into something. Like she doesn't have like that much like motivation to do anything, just kind of like do the bare minimum to like keep going. We see it affect her relationships and like how she sees love. We see it affect her friendships very strongly because she lives with her best friend, and we also see how Bennett's depression affects her best friend as well. We see it affect Bennett's mental health, and I really felt for her. You could really feel her pain and like how debilitating it was for her to be going through this and wanting to be out of it, but also like wanting to like be sad in a way and like feel her feelings. I also like love reading about like the exploration of how easy it is to like self-sabotage out of anxiety and depression, and like being in Bennett's mind, it helps me be even more empathetic to those tendencies, because it can be really frustrating to witness like as a reader, and also just like the people around her as well, seeing her like kind of like spiral, but also wanting to help her and her kind of like resist that help. I don't think I've ever read a book that delves so heavily into like the feelings and the descriptions of how it felt. I think that the writing really helped a lot with that. And not really sugarcoating anything. There's a lot of like beautiful quotes in here as well. Oh yeah, wow, I actually just like opened this. I guess I'll read it. It's a good representation of how the author used similes and metaphors to make grief like more tangible and understandable to the reader, as instead of it just being like this greater concept basically. It's like my grief has tethered me to myself. The walls of sadness like shrink wrap surrounding all sides of me until I can barely breathe. Any movement I make, any step forward or back is too painful. The smaller and smaller my world becomes, the more daunting it is to try and move out of the hurt. I feel close to Sam, my grief. It's the only thing I have left of him. Also, Henry was such a sweetie. I love him so much. He's so good at like being there for Bennett, and I also loved how like kind and just open he was. It's a very like admirable quality. His ability to just like talk to anyone, even if like it's kind of hard for him, which like we talk about throughout the book. I just really loved Henry as a character. He's so sweet. I really enjoy the relationship as well. I wouldn't say I was like swooning and like, oh my gosh, like it's like so like romantic, but I definitely loved seeing like their relationship grow and unfold. And yeah, I really would recommend this book. I rated it 4 stars. Moving on to August. The first book that I read in August was He's Not My Type by Megan Quinn. I randomly saw it. I don't know if it was on TikTok or just like somewhere. I was like, okay, I'll read it. Big mistake. This book follows Halsey and Blakely. I'm sorry, but I hate these names. I don't typically care about the names in books, but wow, I really hate these. So Halsey is a star NHL player, and Blakely, she works in public relationships and marketing department in like for like their team basically. Halsey's had a crush on her ever since like she started working there, and he's been pining over her ever since, but she was like in a long-term relationship, so he kind of like feel like he had no chance. But one day that he finds out that relationship has now ended, and his teammates are basically like helping him convince her to like fall in love with him. I rated this 2 stars. It was not for me. It was not for me. The writing was very cheesy and it just didn't feel natural at all. The premise for the relationship was cute. Like it was very cute, it was very promising, but I don't know, the execution just was not done well, and it felt very silly at times. I did enjoy the incorporation of deeper topics like difficult family dynamics and grief, and it helped like in grounding the story of it, but it still fell flat for me. I didn't really like it. I have read other books by this author that I have enjoyed. I don't know. I touched on this before, but the names in this book are terrible. Why do they all sound terrible but also sound the same, and like it's just like so confusing, and they weren't good. Like, oh god, I didn't like these names, and I'm sorry if anybody has these names. It was just really confusing. Like, the names are just so confusing. Like, they all kind of sound the same. They were all like kind of long too, and I'm like, what are these names? Why? Like, why? I hated it. Yeah, and honestly, it just kept taking me out the story every time I encountered a new name, and I'm like, what is this? Like, why? I don't understand. There's so many other names, like, and it felt like the author was like choosing the worst possible ones. I don't know. But I rated 2 stars. I really wouldn't recommend this, but you know, up to you. Try it out, see if you like it, but it wasn't for me. Second book I read in August was Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. Now this one, oh gosh, I was not expecting this one to be so good. This book follows Maya and Hark, which we first see in Not in Love, another Ali Hazelwood book. Maya is Eli's sister, and Hark is Eli's business partner and also best friend. So Maya and Hark strike up like an interesting relationship after like he supports her through like a tough breakup that she's having, and ever since then there's always been like this magnetic pull between them, but there's an age gap. I'm pretty sure it's like a 30-year age gap. I could be wrong, but it's a really big age gap. I'm not like a huge age gap person. Like, I don't really have anything against it, and I don't particularly seek it out, but if I see one with like a good like synopsis, I'll like check it out. Maya's 23 and Connor is 38. Do the math. So like I said, I was not expecting this to be that good. I loved Ali Hazelwood's books, but like I think this is the first 5-star that I've ever given like one of her books. I could be wrong. I think I may have given The Love Hypothesis 5 stars. It was either a 5-star or 4-star. I do need to reread that book though, especially if that's becoming a movie. This book was like the most perfect slow burn ever. Like it somehow like it felt slow, but it also didn't feel like it was like dragging on, and it didn't like feel forced at all. Like I completely understood why it was a slow burn and why they couldn't necessarily be together yet. I was just on the edge of my seat waiting for something to happen. I absolutely love the dynamic between Maya and Hark. Like she's like a bit of like a brat that likes like throw Hark like off and like catch him off guard, and you can tell like he's very like thrown off by her, but like he loves like seeing her like be herself, and like he just enjoys being around her, and he finds her very amusing, and like I love it. Like I was giggling so much. I could tell how much like an intimate relationship between them had formed despite like any like actual physical intimacy. Like I don't know how she did it, but like if it truly felt like they had such an intimate relationship, but like through just like their words and them talking. I just like love the fact that it was like set in a villa for Eli and Rue's wedding, and through that we got forced proximity of the destination wedding. And also I loved like seeing like all of like the side characters like see like little glimpses of them, because they were all like really cool and really interesting, and like seeing them against this backdrop of like a beautiful villa, it just felt very fun. And even the times where we were completely focused in on Hark and Maya, I still like was so into the book because I really loved like all the side plots were going on. There weren't that many side plots, but there was like one major one. I really loved like everything about this book. It's definitely my fave Ali Hazelwood book. I gave it 5 stars, and I would most definitely recommend for sure. The third book that I read for August was Malibu Rising. This is one I have been wanting to read like literally since forever, since I started like getting back into reading for fun. I've only read one Taylor Jenkins Reid book, which was Daisy Jones and the Six, and that was towards like the beginning of me getting back into reading again. And I've been wanting to read this one for so long, but like I've been saying, it was just one of the ones that I added to my want to read list, and I kind of just kept putting it off for whatever reason, even though I really wanted to read it. So I finally said this is the summer that I will get to it, and I got to read in August, which is when this book takes place. This book is set in August 1983, and it goes back and forth between past and present timeline. It follows a Riva family in Malibu as they throw their annual party to celebrate the end of summer. Throughout this book, we learn about like the family history and essentially how they got to where they are now, which is like the August 1983. This book is so good. Like Taylor Jenkins Reid, you have done it again. Rated at 5 stars, of course. Honestly, like this book wasn't what I was like completely totally expecting. I also wasn't sure what I was like gonna get into like while reading this book, so I had expectations, but I also didn't. The blurb like on the back made me feel like this book was like essentially leading up to something terrible like happening by the end of this book, which we do technically know something bad happens at the end of the book, which is that the Riva mansion like goes up in flames. So I'm like, okay, what happens that makes an entire mansion like go up in flames? Like what's going on? I was just like kind of like constantly on edge throughout the entire book. So I'm like, okay, is this the thing that's gonna make this happen? Like I was just like so like confused. And it turns out that something terrible were just happening all throughout the book. Like there's not much I can say without spoiling it, because I really would prefer like for you to read it and like go into it kind of blindly, honestly. But I'll just say that this is such a great exploration of family dynamics and generational trauma, like generational trauma to the max. And I really wasn't expecting that. The only thing that I knew kind of about this book was that like Mick Riva, I've only heard, because I didn't read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and you see him more prominently in that book. All I know is that he sucks. I think Taylor Jenkins Reid did such a great job at like giving us like this very terrible character and showing us essentially why he is the way he is, but not like using that as an excuse, because he needs to go to therapy. He needs to go to therapy. And I know this is the 80s, and honestly like even before that, we see like how like these siblings are obviously like, you know, born, like how he meets his wife June, and basically just how the whole family like is born, and both of their backstories. I love how we were shown and not told like how your family affects who you become, and it's shown through all of the siblings. Like we're shown that you're forced to take on a role to make sense within a unit, especially Nina. Like, oh my gosh, girl, I need to hug you. I need to hug you. I bet her and June, like June is the mother, they both just deserve so much better than what they got. McBreva, I'm sorry sir, you suck. I understand that you grew up very questionably, but oh my gosh, he is terrible. I rate this 5 stars. Would definitely recommend. Read this like during August. It's a great end of summer read, and I would definitely recommend. The last book that I read for the month of August was Summer in the City by Alex Astor. This was my last summer book of the year. Just wanted something fun to like close it out, and I got the Barnes & Noble like special edition. I don't know, I don't normally get stuff like this because like it doesn't really matter to me, but I thought this was cute because it shows like a map of all the places in New York that he like takes her and everything. And this book follows Parker and Elle. Parker is a tech CEO billionaire and Elle is a screenwriter. They had like a tiny hookup in a stairwell years ago, but it ended like pretty quickly and pretty badly. Elle gets an opportunity to write for a big budget movie set in New York City, but she hates the city and she has to move back. She ends up moving in across from Parker, and it's a whole thing of like she hates him but he doesn't really hate her. I read this book 4 stars. I thought it was a super fun book. I loved how it was set in New York City, and I got to see like all the places that like I'm familiar with and just see them go there and experience them. There were a lot of cute moments between Parker and Elle, more than I was expecting, honestly. Like I really enjoyed their romance. Honestly, I wish, well no, that's not true. I was gonna say I wish we saw more of it, but I think more than I'm thinking of is like Elle was very resistant to Parker, and I do wish we got more of her like enjoying being with him or just like enjoying like the things that he did for her. But I do understand why Elle was the way she was, because at times I was very frustrated with her, because I get it, like a billionaire throwing money at you isn't, I don't know, like it's not the easiest thing to, I don't know, handle. I don't really know how to like say it. I do understand why she was adamant on certain things, especially when aspects of her past were revealed. I thought the author did a really good job with that. I feel like in a billionaire romance, when the female main character is very resistant to the guy, it can come off like a bit annoying, because obviously we're all like, girl, like he loves you, like girl, just like accept this. You want the female character to be like really enjoying like this experience. But I do think the author did a really good job at using like the aspect of Elle's past and how she was brought up, and to show like her personal issues with money is contributing to how she's navigating her relationship with Parker. I thought that was very like good and unexpected that the author did that, because I really wasn't expecting that. And I also don't think I've read that in any like sort of book, especially not a billionaire romance. I don't really do a lot of billionaire romance, but I've never seen that before. I definitely did enjoy this book. I rated it 4 stars. It's a great summer book and it was really fun. Those are all the books that I read in July and August, all my summer reads. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got some good recs for next summer, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and bye.